Welcome to my very first ever educational personality video. In today's video, we're going to be explaining how to identify each of the 16 personalities. And we're going to do that by going letter and through letter, like going through each letter to identify one letter at a time. There's 4 letters in each personality. You're going to need to identify 4 different things in this person, whether you're trying to identify your friend's personality or a stranger. You can do either. By just one conversation, you can tell what someone's personality is. So some of these are going to be easier to tell with a stranger than a friend, and some of them are going to be easier to tell if you're friends with the person versus a stranger. So either way, you're going to have things that are easier to tell and harder to tell. So first letter is I or E, extroverted or introverted. And no, introverted does not mean they don't talk a lot. I've gotten that so many times. They're like, you're not an introvert, you talk a lot. I'm like, I am an introvert. That does not mean I don't like to talk. I love talking. But that means the energy that I don't get any energy from social interactions. It takes energy. That is the I. Introverted takes energy when talking to people. Opposite with extroverted. Extroverted people might be getting the same thing, like, hey, you're extroverted, but you don't talk a lot. Extroverted does not mean they talk a lot. Extroverted means they get energy from talking to people. So that is why they choose to keep talking in conversations, talking a lot, because they're getting energy. They're all hyper, they're ready to go. It's like after you had a coffee. So opposite things, right? So it's gonna be easier to tell extroverted versus introverted when first meeting someone. So like when people first walk up to me, they're gonna know right away, like, hey, she's shy, she's introverted, she's sort of like, I don't wanna do this talk, it's gonna take energy, because us introverts know that the second we get into a social thing, we're gonna be exhausted at the end. So opposite with extroverted people, and that is how you tell the I versus the E. So when I walk up to someone and I'm talking to them right, I can tell right away if they're introverted or extroverted. And this is a skill that I've adapted over a long time. So if you're like, man, this video is fake, I can't tell the difference, right? It takes practice. I've been doing this for almost 5 years. I've been trying to figure out people's personalities. It takes time. And hey, if you're a natural people reader and things like that, it should be easier for you. But this skill takes time to adapt, right? So just be patient with yourself. Reading and watching videos like this proves to yourself that you are trying to figure out people. All right, so next one is a little bit harder. The N and S. So intuition versus sensing. So we already got the I and the E figured out. So the second letter is either going to be S or N. So this letter is how you make decisions, basically. So I am an N. So meaning I spend more time thinking about my decisions up here versus outward. So S, sensing, is outward. Action. Driven action, right? You're going towards something. You're going to take action, right? N is more like I'm thinking up here first about how I'm going to take action, and then I will do it. So N types are a little bit more up here, a little bit more planned than your S types. And this one is going to be easier to tell if you've been around the person for a while and see how they make decisions. This letter is the hardest for me to figure out. The S and the N make such a little amount of difference, but it is the hardest thing to figure out. So what I look for is, I straight out ask the person, I'm like, hey, when you're making a decision, and yes, I may be weird, but this is how I figure out people's personalities. Don't be afraid to ask. Like, hey, question, when you're making decisions, do you like to think about it a lot first, or do you just action, outward action, right? So they are more thinking outwardly, like, how is this going to turn out outwardly? Where intuition people are more like, how is this going to turn out and they're up here. Intuition people are more in their heads than sensing people are. And this video does not mean you can't have a little bit of both. Like, some sensing people will have intuition, which makes it even harder to figure out. So this is the letter that I would recommend you wait last on. So the second letter, the S or the N, is going to be the hardest to figure out. So wait on that one till the very end. Or if you think you got it and you're like, hey, I've been with this person, I know them, I've been with them like 5 years, I know how they make decisions, right? There you go. Next is the F and the T, and honestly, this is one of the easiest ones to figure out, okay? So the T and the F are thinking versus feeling. So feeling people are going to be more emotional, more like if someone's crying in a group, they'll go over and give them a nice hug, or be like, hey, is there any way that I can help you, or things like that. Now, thinking people, you will see them sort of shy away from crying situations. And I say this from personal experience. When someone's crying, I'm like, I don't know you. Right? It's just a little bit more awkward. And if you look for those subtle cues, you should be able to tell if it's awkward for that person or not. No, and I'm not saying that thinking people don't care about people's feelings. That's not what I'm saying. But thinking people, it's a little bit awkward for them because they don't know how to take that in. They don't understand that the same way feeling people do. And that does not mean they don't have empathy. Like, you can adapt great levels of empathy and be like, let me give that person a hug. I know they're struggling, right? So that's going to be harder. If this thinking person is healthy and has adapted empathy in a big way, they're going to be very close to a feeling person. But in a way, it's also how they make decisions. So a lot of these are about how they make decisions. So a feeling person is going to be more like, how is this going to make everybody feel? Versus the thinking person is going to be like, how is this going to work out logically? And that is where this is going to make the difference. So I am very an empathetic person. Like, I will, sure, it's awkward, but I will hug somebody if they're crying. I will ask if they need something. But when I make decisions, I make a more logical decision versus a feeling decision. So let's give an example here. You're trying to make a decision at work, and there's no wrong answer. There's two different decisions. One is going to be more efficient, but hey, it might hurt a couple people's feelings. Like, Todd over there wanted to do this way, and it might hurt his feeling. If I was a feeling person, I'd be like, okay, no way is wrong. They're both good. I'm going to go the way that doesn't hurt people's feelings, and it may be a little less efficient, but in the end, everyone's going to be happy with me. They're all going to be, their feelings aren't going to be hurt, right? The thinking person's going to go, okay, sorry, Todd, I know that this was your decision and you wanted to go this way, but I'm going to go this way because it's more efficient. So again, different ways of making decisions. Now, on to the J and the P, which is the last letter in the personality. So this one is pretty easy as well. P is perception, I believe, and J is judging. So P, the people with the P in the end of their personality are gonna be spontaneous, a little bit more spontaneous, right? They're not gonna be so guarded. They're not gonna be so unable to make changes, unable to try new things. It's not gonna be as hard. And that's not what I'm saying. When I'm saying these things, it does not mean that the other personality can't do these things. I'm just saying they're more apt to make those decisions. So P is going to be a little bit more spontaneous. Like, hey, P-type personality might come out and say, hey, I decided just spur of the moment, I want to go to the store right now. Like, I need to go to the store right now. Where J-type personality is going to be a little bit more planned, a little bit more structured. They're like, well, on my schedule, not exactly scheduled, but they're going to be like, I've planned to go to the grocery store this afternoon at 12:30, right? They're going to already have that plan in mind. They're going to want to have things laid out. They're going to want to have things sort of scheduled. It does not mean that they have a schedule, right? But up here, they have things planned out the way they want them, and they don't like change as much as the P types. The P types are gonna be like, I'm going on vacation, and you're gonna be like, what, you're going on vacation, really? And they're gonna be like, yeah, just spur of the moment thing, I decided to go on vacation. Right? So P versus J is just spontaneous versus more planned. And you can also see this if you walk inside someone's home. You might see that a P-type personality will have things a little bit more unstructured than the J-type's house. So the P-type's house might be a little bit more chaotic, some things laying around, right? They'll be like, yeah, I'm getting to that, right? Right? I'll get to that when I get to it, right? It's not really that big a deal. The J-type is more like, even if their house isn't clean, the J-type is gonna be like, I want to have things put in their place, right? I want this a little bit more structured. And this is not one size fits all, you guys. Some personalities have a little bit of both, some don't. And it's not about cleanliness of the house. I'm just trying to make examples. So that is how you figure out people's personality types. Basically, that is what I run through. I run through the 4 things, and whichever one they fit in. And if they don't fit in some, I study that person a little bit more. And if I can't figure it out, maybe they're just in the middle. And I've noticed that a lot lately, that some people are just becoming unhealthy, which is making it really hard to tell people's personality types. And I'm sure I will get to this in another video about unhealthy personality types, but that also makes it so hard to tell people's personalities, because unhealthy personalities are going to guard their real personality. They're going to be not fake, but they are going to be really guarded, and they're going to put up a wall. So it's going to be hard. But if the thing is, if this is a family member, a friend, and you've known them for a while, you should be able to see those signs. Well, thank you guys so much for joining this video. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want more personality videos, MBTI videos like this. Let me know which one you want to see next, and I will see you next time.